How's it going, everybody? Welcome to We Do Tech. Now, it's been some time since I've last reviewed a mouse from Logitech, but today I am back with their legendary MX518. Now, this isn't necessarily a new mouse. The MX518 was actually released back in like 2005, where it was one of the most popular gaming mice. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't privileged enough to check out the MX518 back in the day, so I am looking forward to seeing what all the hype was about for this mouse. Even though this does have a new sensor and new features and so on, I'm still looking forward to checking it out. So then, starting off with the pricing for the MX518 Legendary. First, it is retailing for around $60 on Amazon or 1,000 Rand on Rebeltech here in South Africa. This does put the mouse in the same price range as a lot of other respectable high-end gaming mice. So is the name going to be the primary selling factor for this mouse, or just the performance in general? We shall see. The design looks pretty much identical to the older model, with this more elongated, rounded off shape. There are very few sharp edges. Pretty much everything just flows off, which I did find to be quite nice feeling in your hand. The body does fit my more medium-sized hand really well, and it should also work for larger hands, but not necessarily smaller hands, I would feel. The preferred grip will mostly be palm style because of the larger size, but it does also work with claw or fingertip styles. It's just not as comfortable in my opinion. The style of the MX518 is quite different. With the previous model, from what I could tell from just pictures, the styling does have this lightest silver color scheme to it on the top, but also has what looks like dark dents on it. That wasn't the case, but it did kind of look like that, and I found it to be weird at the time. But the new one still has more of a smooth silver color scheme to it, but that does transition into black towards the back. With the chrome paint, it did kind of resemble space to me, with kind of the stars and the dark night. So it was quite a more interesting color that they went with. But now, moving on to the right side, you do get this grayish, slightly textured plastic that has a perfect inwards curve for your thumb. Mine did feel straight at home there, with it being extremely comfortable and also allowed for quick use of the two thumb buttons just above. They do differ in sizes, but did actually feel really nice to use, with that rounded off shape and also the nice soft but noticeable click. Moving on to the right side, here you have a bit more of a stranger curve to it, with you not really being able to position your ring finger on the side of the mouse. Instead, it has a wider section next to the right mouse button that allows you to rest your ring finger there. Now, I'm not really used to that type of ring finger placement, but I did quickly get used to it, and it didn't bother me after that. It was just kind of a different feeling that I never really used before. Usually my fingers just next to the side. So yeah, new experience there. Now, as for your pinky, there's a nice curve on the side that does really fit your pinky quite nicely. So no complaints for that one. Now, as for the main clickers, there's no mention of which switches Logitech used for this mouse. It's most likely going to be ARM switches, or it could be a custom Logitech one. I'm not exactly sure, but they do feel really nice with a fast and snappy click to it, and also no travel delay. The buttons do have more of an outwards curve to them, which is entirely different from the newer mice, which has more of an inwards curve for better finger placement. But I never really had an oopsie miss clicking. It is still comfortable, and my fingers didn't slide around anywhere, so no complaints there. As for the scroll wheel, you do get this thin little wheel that has just a smooth rubber grip. It does have short steps that is very smooth and also not overly loud. I did kind of find it different as well with this one. With most newer mice, we have a larger and textured rubber grips, so it was a bit of a different experience again, and yeah, I didn't really find anything wrong with that. Now, you do also have three other buttons in front and behind of the scroll wheel, with the front one defaulting as the DPI up and the middle one being a DPI down. The last button is set to DPI default, which will just change to the default DPI that you set inside the software. But you can go change all of these commands and reassign it to something else if you wanted to using the software. So no need to have just 3 DPI buttons at the same time, which is kind of a bit weird to me. So you can change that. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about the button placement. I do like that there's 3 buttons that you can use and reprogram to something else, but the positioning was a bit weird, being that one is at the front of the scroll, 2 is behind. It does require a bit more of a finger stretch to really get between them, and it's not that fast. So yeah, I'd most likely reprogram to something else and just keep 1 DPI switch. But now taking a look underneath the MX518 Legendary, you do get a 4 glider pad. It delivers a nice smooth but controlled slide. Then you also get a Logitech's latest Euro 16K optical sensor that has a DPI ranging from 100 to 16,000 with increments of 50. It has a 1000 Hz polling rate, a 40G acceleration, and an IPS of 400. There's honestly not too much to really say about this Euro sensor. It has been in a bunch of Logitech's latest high-performance gaming mice, and it's just honestly superb. You get excellent tracking, no rollout or jittering or anything like that. It's used by a lot of the pros, so yeah, it's just a really high-performance sensor. And you're gonna get that as well in a mouse that's supposed to be made in 2005. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Now, the weight of a mouse has also recently become a big factor, with we're seeing pretty light mice. So I was kind of surprised at how light the MX518 was. It's not overly light, but it's lighter than I initially thought, with it weighing in at approximately 101 grams. Again, not overly light, but it's perfect in the middle for me. Then just quickly for the cable, you do get a very thin but flexible non-braided cable with a length of 2.1 meters. So then in conclusion, did the MX518 Legendary live up to its hype? And I have to say, I think it did, and I can understand why gamers liked it so much back in the day. Now, not taking account in the sensor yet, just overall the shape of the mouse and how it feels in your hand, it is really comfortable, and I can use it for long periods at a time without any issues. It's honestly a really comfortable mouse with good finger placement and just nice buttons overall. I'm not even sure that you could reprogram the buttons back then for the DPI ones. Hopefully you could, because yeah, that's something that I would do on this mouse, just reprogram those. I don't need 3 DPI buttons, that's a bit much. But yeah, I have to say it's actually really nice. But now the biggest question is going to be, is this going to be a better option to go for than some of the other mice that's falling into the same price range? Because again, there are a few around about the $60 or the 1,000 rand price range. And in all honesty, I do actually think it could. It does deliver the performance needed with that Euro 16K sensor. It's an amazing sensor. And also the comfort is, again, really good with this mouse. It's just going to be more the styling. I do think if you were a fan back in the day, or you were a bit older then this mouse might have a bit more of a nostalgia to it, that you might actually go for this instead of something else. But I'm not necessarily sure if the younger generation is really gonna go for something like this. It does look older, and even for me, even though I do like it to perform really well, I think I would rather go for the G502 Euro instead of this, being that it's pretty much in the same price range. The G502 I think is a bit more expensive. But honestly, I would rather go just for that one, just because it delivers a bit more features than what I would like. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how well this mouse is going to sell, but I do think the fans of the previous mouse might actually buy one, just keep it. So yeah, that is pretty much it for my review of the MX518 Legendary, a really good gaming mouse mixed with the old and the new. So if you guys wanted to check out the MX510 and get it for yourself, MX518. I will leave links in the video description where you can get it on Rebeltech if you live here in South Africa, or on Amazon if you do live overseas. Also, a big thanks to Logitech for sending it over for review, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will check all of you next time. Cheers, guys.